Right, ladies and gentlemen, a special co-host for you today. Great Australian pool player, Australian champ, world champ, but more importantly, the people's champ, the strawberry blonde phenom, Rusty Wheeler. Welcome to the show, mate.
Hey, boy.
Great to have you here.
I've actually watched all your shows so far. I thought they've all been really good. All your guests I've enjoyed. Yeah, I think yous have all been brilliant, actually. It's been awesome. So hopefully
you're probably our worst one so far.
100%. Probably get the most views, though.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I'm joking.
We're hoping for a clip. I reckon we're a chance to get some good clips today.
But,
this is going to make us or break us, this episode.
No, well, more likely break you. More than likely. I'm looking forward to the Nationals, guys. It's been a while since I've actually been pretty keen. I can't say I've put in the time that I should have to give myself a really good chance of going deep in the singles events. But for me, it's going up there to see my mum's still up there. She's pretty old now and she hasn't been the greatest. So it's a reason for me to get back to Rockhampton and you know, it's an excuse for a bit of both for me. So it's a win-win. So hopefully we go all right. What I've heard about the teams, I haven't even had a look at the teams. I've heard that it's probably the weakest Nationals that's been probably in a decade. I don't know if that'd be true or not, but you guys will be able to inform me a bit more. You to know who's from Victoria and who's if they're a legitimate chance and who's from the other states.
Yeah, I think the main interesting thing, I think you're right. I think a lot of the top players are out this year. Especially with some of the other things going on, like, Justin and Jake are both playing the hay ball. Mark and Mick here are out. Some of the other Victorians are out. And that seems to be true of South Australia. The brothers from WA, I don't think are playing. So a lot of the top players seem to be sitting this one out. But the interesting thing is, of course, New Zealand are joining the Nationals this year. So there's two extra teams. New Zealand have got a North Island and a South Island team.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty wide open, like it could be anyone's event.
I think the New Zealand teams would be really strong in relation because there's probably a dozen or so players over there that you'd like to think a lot of them would make most state sides here in Australia. They're that level. They're a solid bunch of players.
The New Zealand team's also split up over two as well, so that weakens them.
Yeah, rightio. Okay, then.
They don't have an A and a B. They've got like a north and a south. If they had an A and a B with their top 8 or whatever in the A team, they'd be stronger.
Okay. And what about you, Mick? What's the reason you're not going, mate?
I think I'm sort of done with it. Been up there now 13, 14 times. Done it all up there, to be honest with you. And it's only so many times you can go over there and spend your own money. And like I've been up there now 13, I think, times now, or 14. And, been away, obviously, other side of the world 3 times. And I think the Nationals has cost me, probably $100,000, I guess, over the 13 or 14 years. So I've been lucky enough to do everything over there and have some good wins and some losses. And, look, I don't know if I'll ever go back to Nationals. I'm not sure. I did want to go away when it was in Queensland and bring the family up. But as we know, it's hard to try and play and then have time with the family while you're up there because more than likely you're going to be in a lot of the things, singles and doubles and all these things. And, it's hard, and you either need to go away for a holiday or you need to go away and represent Victoria or your state and do the right thing by them. So I think, I don't know, I'm not saying I'll never go back, but at the moment I'm sort of just retired and enjoying just watching other people do it now, basically, I think,
I still reckon one of the funniest things that ever happened to the Nationals, it involved you two guys. And it was in WA, and we'd come back from the casino about 4:00 in the morning. There was me, Jake, my wife, Penny Noonan, and literally we're talking about food and we're starving. Like it might have been about 2 or 3 in the morning, sorry. And I've literally got out of the taxi and there's a guy there holding 4 pizzas. And we've got out and the guy's there and he says, "Order for Scerri or Robinson?" I said, "Yeah, mate, that's us." Right? You guys. So we've grabbed the pizzas, the garlic breads, and literally we're high-fiving each other. We cannot believe our luck. These fresh pizzas have just arrived, right? gone upstairs. We've ate these pizzas, and then we've gone down to your rooms. We've knocked on it. We've left the boxes out the front, right? Jeez, I think Gus was there. Listen, if that was me, I would have been sick. But we tried to keep it on the quiet for like 6 months. When it was ridiculous. It was literally the greatest result.
I don't know if it was Mandurah, because I don't know if I've been to Mandurah. I think I've missed out on Mandurah twice.
Okay, I know. I know it's one of your pizzas, 100%.
Yeah,
it would have been Mark.
It's funny, out of all the matches and all the tournaments,
was it a Hawaiian?
All the things
no, there was
won.
definitely one pepperoni there, 100%.
Barbecue chicken. That's what Mark has.
Ridiculous.
Jesus Christ.
Ridiculous.
It's funny.
I thought you were going to tell the story about you on the shitter.
What on the shitter? What was that
about
story?
You busting to go, and then you sat down on the toilet, and the toilet lid came down as you sat down?
I've done that probably once a week for the last 5 years.
Funny when I think back on like the last 20 years of nationals, when I think of things, it's actually not matches or things that have won or anything like that. It's funny stories like that. Just some funny, quirky things that have happened. The few that come to mind, I actually can't even say on this stream, but there's it's just funny when you condensed a couple of decades and the first thing that comes to your mind is just a quirky little story, just like that. Yeah. I think it's
crazy.
JR and toothpaste come to mind.
JR and the toothpaste with Jamie Stevens. That was a funny one. It's not my story, so I'll tell it. JR's passed out somewhere. This is 2008 in Tassie. It's passed out somewhere, and Jamie Stevens thought it'd be funny to draw like toothpaste, like toothpaste on him. But what Jamie forgot was that it's going to warm up and melt, and it's dripped into JR's eyes, all the toothpaste and shit. JR's woken up, and it's all stinging his eyes. He's got toothpaste everywhere. That stuff. That was the year, actually, you and me, Mick, we went to the gym, and you had a beer, and I had a Jack and Coke, and we're doing a gym workout, and this guy's personal trainer, they're training someone, and there's you and me doing a workout, drinking alcohol.
I had a pint of draft while I was doing a workout. I was doing chest arms or something with a pint.
Unbelievable.
That's good times.
Amazing.
Yeah. That was a good nationals, that one, 2008. I remember that one. That was a good one.
Which one was that? Where was that at?
You got joint player of the carnival with Della.
Tasmania?
At the golf course. The golf course, it had a little mini casino downstairs. Remember that one?
What was your favourite place you went to? Because I, for me, was definitely Mandurah, where we all stayed together, and they had the nightclub under that Avery bar. We all stayed in that windy hotel. That was, to me, I think, and this is what separates them from these days. In the old days, there'd be all the guys there playing spoofs for drinks, and you'd have characters in the game like, from South Australia. What was his name? He won the Australian. No, he won an Australian title. He used to go to every one of them.
Colin the Tarist.
Jonesy and all. Jonesy and all those guys.
Yeah.
They were a different breed, mate. These guys these days and what they're growing up to, they've definitely missed out on by an era or so, because we all had such a good time, and there was such a rivalry too. Like, for us, we've used guys like Victoria was always the yardstick. There was never any doubt about it, and it's always been the same since day dot. But it was always a great rivalry. It was like if you beat a Victorian, you knew you had to, you played well to get there.
Yeah.
Because the school was just so tough. Same as South Australia, but I definitely think Victoria definitely had the players in the last 15 or 20 years that I've played. I know South Australia's had a lot of great ones like Jimmy Della and all those guys, but it was always, if we got a win against Victoria, which was few and far between, you celebrated it. But we probably crowed too early a few too many times. And it got beaten in the semis or the final. Yeah.
It's interesting you mention it with I noticed that the last few nationals I've played at, you play a lot more matches, there's a lot more events, and you all sort of play, and then everyone kind of goes back to their hotel room, and all the states are at different hotels and in different areas and stuff, so the mingling doesn't happen. I remember the one in Mandurah that you're talking about, like the big hotel and everyone's staying at one venue. There's one bar downstairs. If you're ever bored, you go down to the bar. There's always a few conversations going on, a few drinks and people having good laughs and stuff. So when you weren't playing,
That was great. That
you
hotel.
were mingling a lot more.
Fantastic.
You know, it was good. It was more of a bit of a trip away. Yeah.
Is it
There's
just
a lot
me
more
or
hustlers than that. There was a lot more hustlers, Mark. There was a lot more characters in the game than there is these days. Don't get me wrong. I think it's probably a good thing now because in all Q sports, and obviously we've tried to make it as professional as we possibly can as well, and we've tried to get out of the pub sort of scene. But in the original days, the characters that come from that pub scene that's what drew us to the game originally.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there was always a hustle to be made. There was always a roared on somewhere. It was great.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. I loved it.
Almost lost a little something in trying to be too professional in a way. Bit of a funny one. You know, too many events, you go up there and you're playing constantly, especially if you survive in some singles events for long enough, like that plate event that goes through 80% of the tournament. Now it's not even a pre-nationals tournament. I remember I was playing in that and the singles like main event, and they were like, you would bounce from one to the other and play, and then all of a sudden there's a doubles event, and then there's the shootout, and then just one, and then teams events, and then you're actually just cooked by the end of it, and then you just go back to your hotel room where all the Vics are over here, and just, you know, it feels like more like business now. You know, you're there to more like do a job and take care of work on the table, whereas it
drains you.
It does, yeah.
When you come back from any tournament that I've ever played, it doesn't matter if it's you're playing for a couple thousand, you go away for a weekend up in Harvey Bay or anywhere, and you come back from playing pool all weekend, people don't realise, like my wife's like, you've been on a holiday. It's like, I don't want to get out of bed.
My wife says that too when I go fishing.
It's like, it drains you, mate. 100%. It's time. And fishing, same thing, you know what I mean? You're sitting out there, you're waiting, your attention's on that line the whole time, you know what I mean?
It fries your brain.
And that beer in your hand. But other than that, so you boys are obviously getting into the Chinese 8-ball. My thoughts of it, well, I'd never seen anything like it when I went up there the last couple of days. It was something special, that's for sure.
You went to the World Championship, yeah? Sorry. I'll give you a rundown of the results if you want to dive into a chat about it. So this was last week at the Nissan Arena, which is the State Netball Centre. Have I got that right, Rusty? Does that sound right? A big arena that was in,
awesome
in Brisbane.
stadium.
Yeah, it looked really, really good. The setup looked delightful. They had kind of a mainstream televised table, but all the other tables were live streamed as well, which was incredible that you could kind of click through and watch any match on their website. So in the women's event, Callie Fisher has defeated Shi Tanchi 6-5. It went to a shootout. Yep. Callie won 3-2 in the shootout, but didn't have to play her last shot. She was already on 3 when the other player played her last shot and had only made it to 2. Now, let me just run. We've talked about GOATs a little bit on this channel. Callie Fisher has now got...
She's got to be close to 50.
She's got to be late 40s, I reckon.
Time, yeah.
She's now got in her trophy cabinet a Snooker World Championship, a 9-ball World Championship, a 10-ball World Championship, a Billiards World Championship, and a Hayball World Championship. That woman is incredible, what she's achieved in the game. And to come away with the Hayball World Championship now, like, amazing. Quick shout out to Jessica Woods, too, from Australia. She's the best placed Aussie in the women's, made the last 16.
Yeah. Good stuff, Jess.
And congratulations, Callie Fisher.
She probably picked up about 5,000, or maybe a little bit less, probably about 3,000 or 4,000 US she probably would have got.
The winners, so Callie's come away with 30,000 US. So we're talking probably 45 Australian for winning.
Nice.
So Jessica will have had a nice little collect. Congratulations, Jessica, on your run.
I got to get Susie playing this game.
Get Susie onto it, Mark.
Absolutely.
Should be good.
It was funny because I spoke to Emma Cunningham. It was her first event, and I was having a good chat to her, and she, obviously she's another one now that's wanted to delve into it. I know that Amy Beauchamp and a couple of the others are getting into it from English Pool. And, you know, Emma I regard as, I know Sue Thompson was probably the best I'd ever seen in relation to a female player, but I think Emma, there was a stone's throw between her and Emma. So there was never very much. They were both class players. And there's a good Welsh lady, I can't think of her name, blonde piece, that Davies, she's very good as well. But I spoke to Emma, she come over, this is her first event. Obviously, she paid for it on her own back. She's not a sponsored player yet. She was there with Kelly Fisher, and she was talking about just the different cues, because we're both looking at getting a cue now. And I said, what are you going to get? And she's thinking about going to the Predator. I think she had a hit with one of Kelly's Predators and she liked it. And I said what Gareth and Jack Whelan had told me. I took them back to to the casino the day before they were going. And so I said I'd give them a lift back there. And I was talking to Jack Whelan about it. And Jack Whelan said to me, the only difference is, he says, with those good Predators and those the graphite sort of cues, he said they've actually got too much power. And I understood what he was saying. He said, obviously, with the 9-ball cues, you stun. With 9 balls, you stun, punch a lot of balls in, yeah? Where with this, it's a lot more touch and feel, and it's a lot more of a cute game, because a lot of frames you're going to win by just playing the right shot and not by just running racks, obviously, because they're obviously a lot more tougher than, like, I'd never had a hit on them tables. I actually lie. I had a hit on a table at George's about 10, 15 years ago. She had one at her pool.
You don't lie.
It was... No. Well, I just remembered. But what I remember having a hit on that table was an old cloth, and I remember hitting about 30 balls and not potting one. I thought, yeah, I'm not playing that game. So, but that was gospel. But when I got up there the other day, Josh Gorski had his cue there, and he was practicing in the morning by himself, and he said, "Have you had a hit on him?" And well, realistically, I hadn't had a hit on a table like that. And I grabbed his cue, and I actually started cueing a few balls in. And I started walking around having a look at the matches, and I'm thinking, I could have beaten him. I think I'd be a sniffer beating him. I know if I was under the pump, I'd probably get my ass kicked, but you automatically think that to yourself.
Yeah.
Well, no, I go right against him. You know what I mean? And you think to yourself, okay, there's only 10 guys in this room that I'd probably drop me DAX against, all right? But the rest of them, I'm a chance of picking up 5,000 or 6,000 US. Why the hell didn't I try and plan this thing?
Yeah.
And that's the train of thought you have, you know, as
had a similar
somebody
story, I think.
yeah. And do you know what I mean? And I think I'm definitely going to get one of those tables. Where I'm building the pool room at the back of my house. I've got the builder coming down on Saturday, and it's going to be pretty well. Instead of putting it on the back burner, I'm going to get it done straight away. So, but I won't be going to, like, you guys are probably going to be in a different scenario than me, but I probably won't want to go to an event for at least 6 months. I'll try and put in. I actually enjoy practicing by myself. Like when I'm going away to an event, I'll always go down to the pool, and I'll only hit balls by myself.
Maybe one day when you're doing this, come down and stay at mine or Mark's for a couple of days, and because I know Mark's obviously going to get a table soon too. And what we'll do is we'll catch up and we'll dedicate a day or two of just solo, like, proper practice, theory, everything. We'll try and actually combine what we sort of know about the game and try and make each other better, and maybe play some games as well. So
Some sets.
it actually sounds like good fun. Yeah.
I know that Jake and Justin, like, I watched Jake's game in the first one, and
We'll get Jake down too.
the guy that I watched Jake play, I actually thought Jake should have beaten him in the end, 100%. But Jake was 2 or 3-0 down, and the guy looked really, really fluent on the cue. He had a brilliant cue action. He was talented. And then Jake, he went dry 2 or 3, and Jake got him, and Jake looked awesome. He was like 6-3 up or 6-2 up or 6-3, I think it was. And he definitely should have closed the match out, Jakey. And I tried to explain to his cousin who was sitting there with us, she was sitting there talking to my wife, Sam, and I said, when it got to 6-4 or 6-5, and I said to her, right now, the other guy's favourite. And she said, well, he's still on the hill. I said, yeah, but the mentality sometimes when you're playing is you try and protect your lead. When you're on the hill for 3 or 4 frames and someone comes back at you, you get that little bit of desperation in you. You just want to close out the match. And it's happened to me so many times, and I've lost so many matches like it because I haven't dealt with that situation the greatest. I could see it in Jake that was happening, you know. It didn't mean I didn't see him twitch on balls, but sometimes your shot selection, sometimes just the smallest little things come into your head, you know what I mean? And it's so hard to do. And sure enough, that's what happened. The guy got an opportunity at 6-all and ended up winning the frame and the match. But I think Jake and Justin, what I was going to get to was they're probably 6 to 12 months, maybe even longer, ahead of a lot of the players in Australia. I watched Vinny play. Now, Vinny's probably, when it just comes to potting, his brilliance is probably better than the other two, but his cue ball control is nowhere near what Jake and Justin's is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And shot selection as well.
And his shot selection.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to cueing on those tables, I think Justin's better than Jake. I think when it comes to jumping and breaking, Justin's better than Jake. But I think when it comes to overall play, believe it or not, when it comes down to who you're in shot selection, especially in that game where it's a lot of hot safety. So Jake's always been very, very good at that. And that's what gives Jake so many opportunities in frames where he's such a class player. If he misses, he's not leaving you too much. You've actually got to pull out a good shot to keep yourself going or keep yourself in the frame.
Yeah.
And that's how I see those two players. But in relation to the rest of Australia, sorry?
Spot on, I think. I agree. I actually agree with that. And if I would have to one of those guys to play for my life, I think Justin goes about it exactly perfectly like how you said it. But I suppose if one of them had to play for my life, I think for some reason I'm choosing Jake because I think I just have that belief that he'll keep me alive in a way. You know what I mean?
It's funny. They've both had such great results. And realistically, the best results probably have come from Justin. He's won multiple events. But I think Justin also had that 12 to 18 months head start on Jake as well. I don't think there's much between the pair of them.
No,
and hopefully, Mark, like I was talking to Justin the other night and we both agreed, like, I don't know if you're getting into it, Mick, but we're talking about Mark specifically. We both think that, Jake it was, I was talking to the world titles, we both think you're going to go really well at it. So, hopefully, like even when I'm not playing and I'm watching events, I'm always cheering on the Aussies. A lot of people don't think I'm not, but I actually do. I love seeing my own players that I've grown up with playing, and I love seeing them have good results and going good for themselves. You know what I mean? It's a buzz.
I just want to cover off the other side of the results because I think this is kind of good context here. Jake was beaten in that first round by Sina Velazquez, who actually made the final. And he beat Jake 7-6, and that was as close as anyone got to him until he ran into Gareth Potts in the grand final. Gareth Potts defeated Sina Velazquez 7-4.
That wasn't the guy. That wasn't the match I watched. That must have been.
It must have been you must have seen him in the losers round then. Yeah. Anyways, Sina is an Iranian player. Like, good to see this guy put his hand up on the world stage. Was definitely not amongst the handful of favourites, but had a huge run late in the tournament.
Justin took $4,000 off him in Melbourne when he was down there for that tournament. They played for cash.
I really like it. Yeah.
Yeah, Justin took his cash for $4,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, good
on
Sina for putting his hand up to play that cash match. Maybe that stood him in good stead, and now he must have come away with 10 or 12,000 US, I reckon, for coming
20,000
second.
he got. It was 30,000 first, 20,000 second.
20,000. Wow, that's a good collect, isn't it? He's paid for the 4,000 cash and then some.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
He beat Jack Whelan in the semis, and Jack's had a huge run recently, so he was definitely.
Well, I was talking to Jack. I think he's won close to 50,000 US in the last probably month and a bit. So it's not a bad result, is it?
Just on that. On that money match, that's something that a lot of people forget is that those money matches, they're also investments. If I play Rusty tomorrow for $1,000 and I lose, in the long run, I'm getting that $1,000 back. The lessons that I learned from that match, if I'm strong enough to actually take it and then go and practice it, all the difference is making a semis instead of a quarters or something like that. It's an investment. That's why when Mick Hill was coming down here, I was trying to challenge him for money matches, not expecting to win, but that was, if I'm playing him for money, I'm going to get the best version of him. And I'm just getting a lesson, so I'll have my table down here soon. I'll be playing Jake for money, Sage for money, and all these guys. I'll fly over. I'll play Justin. I'll expect to lose, but I'm going to make that money back many times over in the long run.
I don't think you need to, Mark. I think realistically, because it's such a universal game and there's so many of those players overseas that are and you're going to be going over there, you're actually going to be in a great position where you could probably not play the top 200 or 300 in the world, but the next 500 will play you for 1,000 or 2,000 US or 5,000 US.
I wouldn't even know who
The
they
guy
are.
that was there, yeah, I know they're all going to be there, mate. You're going to find them, and 100%. I know it. Knowing you, I know you love having a punt anyway, so you'll definitely have a crack at them. But what
Some
I
9-year-old's
seen
going to
was,
kick my ass.
well, there's some brilliant kids over there, isn't there? But
Yeah.
how's the guy that owns that Chinese 8-ball? I got told that he owns over 1,000 clubs,
Mr.
pool
Chow.
halls, in China, and obviously they'd be all first class. But apparently he's a multi-billionaire, and he's put in about 440 million US so far. If that's the case, now I thought to myself, I wonder if that's all coming out of his back pocket. And I thought there's no way that would be, because the Chinese are such a patriotic country in relation to their sports and stuff, where the Chinese government would actually be, I've got no doubt they're putting in money because they want their national sport or one of their sports where they can win a gold medal at the Olympics. Now, that's what I've been told is it's nearly 95% it's going to be over the line. That'll be an Olympic sport. Now, that amazes me. Like we're 5 years old. Who would have thought that year a chance of actually making the Olympics for Q sports? Like, you're kidding.
When we're
Have you got
50.
that in your mind, Rusty? Are you setting yourself like is there a 6-year plan now to say, I'm going to put some time in and I'm going to try and get to the Olympics in 2032?
You know what? The first thing I thought when I got out of there, I thought, you know what? I'm better than Reagan. I'm better than the rapper. All right. So, I'm not going to embarrass myself as bad as her, no matter what. All right. It doesn't matter if I get dusted. All right. So, obviously, listen, it's probably too late for me. I keep on saying that over and over again, but I don't know. I'd love to. I'll tell you what, it inspired me to want to get a table.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
idea of calling yourself an Olympian is insane. But I also
I'll
think,
fly up and practice with you.
oh mate, it'll be so good, Mick. But it's not just that. It's the idea of, I think what'll happen is, and it can happen in a lot of sports, is the politics involved. Okay, so what I'm saying is that I hope with Olympic selection and with the players like Mark, yourself, Mick, and all the rest of the players that are going to come through, I hope they all get an opportunity the same as everybody else in relation to the trialing that comes
Yes.
through. Now, I hope that if they do say, okay, this is going to be an Olympic sport, I hope there's a criteria of certain events that you've got to go to get certain amount of points to try and
Yep.
get yourself into that team to go away. I don't want it to be I know he's going in, he's in, he's in, because all that'll do is it won't grow the sport at all. It won't
Yep.
let anybody inspire, because even though these other guys have been going to the events and they probably deserve it, you're still talking 4 or 5 years away. Okay. So
Yep.
I think they've got to get things in place early with that and work it out. Like I know with that World Cup team that they're going to be playing up
100%.
soon. Okay, so I'm pretty sure with that World Cup team, you're going to be looking at, it'll be probably Jake, it'll be Justin. They're the two standouts, and I think there's one more. Now, I'm pretty positive that'll be Vinny Calabrese. I'm not saying it shouldn't be Vinny, but Vinny's only played in a couple of events. I don't know how well he's gone, but I know Michael Cassiola. I don't know how well Alex has gone. I know he's had good results, bad results, etc. I know Clacky played well on the weekend. He probably went the furthest out of all the Australians.
He
But
did.
these
Last
guys
16, well done, Clucky.
Okay,
Yep,
so
good
these
stuff.
guys have got to be held. These guys have got to be held in a situation where, okay, their previous records, I get it, but you can't just go on who you think's got more ability. You got to go on results. Results.
How do we
speak
act
louder
on?
than
How do
words.
we act on that though? How can we put something in
I
forward?
can fill you on that because I actually reached out to some of the committees and I can answer that question for you. So for Hayball
Surprise.
in Australia, it comes under WPA, the World Pool Association, and in Australia, the APPA is the affiliated body with the World Pool Association. So to get selected for the events, you need to be in the top rankings under the APPA, which basically just means you need to register as a player under APPA and play in some of their sanctioned events. And that's how you accumulate your ranking of points. So Mark,
But
for
how
example,
how late can we leave it?
well, you need to
and
build up ranking
that's
points,
a big
right?
question.
So winning one tournament might not be enough. You can be registered, but that doesn't mean that you're high enough in the rankings. So you might need to play in
Should we do this
3 or 4
years
events,
out, 3 years out, 4 years out? Do we start now?
I think so. I think it's a 2-year ranking system, but I might be wrong.
Well,
there.
that's
But
what I was
like
going to ask, Marty. I wonder if it is like the because I know the Australian 8-ball, it used to be a 3-year. So you'd
Right.
get your previous 2 years and you'd drop a year. Okay. So, and you carry on your points. So I wondered that if it's the same kind of scenario as that, well, you've got plenty of time realistically, Mick. But obviously the earlier you get in, the better. But
Well,
but
not for me. I was just in general.
well, you're talking for Mark, obviously.
I'd like to see them, like if there's say 10 spots, I'd like to see them have maybe two or three wild cards. They can pick whoever they want for whatever reason they want, and then the rest is like you said, Rusty, a very clear criteria. Here are our tournaments. These are the ones you're going to get points in. We will be taking the top 7 ranked people from that list. Then everyone knows what's going on. There's no backroom selection, weird bullshit going on. It's black and white,
Yeah. But even the expense of the game, it's as I was saying earlier, it's not like pool. Like if you get a good snooker cue, a Paris or whatever, it might cost you $1,500 or $2,000. But I was having a look at some of them like 9-ball cues and that, like they're $5,500, $6,000. Like,
Yeah.
and then you throw on a decent table. There's another. It's not a $2,000 or $3,000 table or $4,000 table. They're close to a $10,000 table, if not more. And then on top of that, you got to have your jump cues. You got to have your breaking cues.
The space to put one of those tables
You're
as well.
going to a squash game, for God's sake. You got 10 rackets. It's insane.
Yeah.
So it's, all that comes into play. But
Table hires
I suppose it's
quite
all trial
expensive
and
as
error.
well.
It's expensive. It's all trial and error. Like it's going to take you a while to find the right jump cue for yourself. I don't know. Well, I can jump a ball, but I wouldn't say I can do what these guys do. Like some of these guys, they're not jumping balls. They're screwing off them.
Yeah.
Running side on them.
How many times are they actually doing that though, as well?
What it is,
Yeah, I
Mick,
get that.
I wouldn't worry
think
about it
with
too much.
I was going to say with that, I think that's sometimes maybe a bit of the difference shot though. Like when you're talking about Justin and Jake being very evenly matched, maybe Justin, I would imagine, is a much better jumper of the ball. And sometimes that might be the difference, what actually might separate them in a match. These guys who are good at jumping, you snooker them, they're getting out of it almost every time. And they're disappointed if they don't knock in the ball and screw off it and play position. It makes a very big difference. Yeah.
100% it does.
So where do you start, and where do you start here? Do you start practicing do you start practicing jumping, or do you start practicing how to actually play the game first, and then mapping and safety? Like for someone that's actually, or I suppose all of us that are going to start playing it, where should we start first? I guess
I think our mapping's already there. I think our basic knowledge of the game and the rule set is still there, and I think all of us guys that have got to a decent level in Australia are going to win our fair share of frames just on pure experience from playing the same game we've always played.
Yeah.
Just told Jake, when Jake and Justin are away, I literally speak to both of them on the phone probably 2 or 3 times when they're away on their trips. And I've said to both of them previously, the only shot I would be practicing constantly is learning to cue them balls down the rail and knocking them in. Because to me, the difference between the top line Chinese players and the top players in the world is those guys don't try and get balls off the rails. Those guys just get on the balls and they just knock them down. And they don't knock them down at dribble pace. These guys are knocking them down like having a squirtle. They're very, very good.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. So, I think myself, when I first start practicing, I'll just be doing what I usually do, break and try and pot the 7 blues, and then if I miss that, go the 7 reds, and you just play yourself, and that's all you do. And it's just all about potting balls. And then if I'm going to be doing any lineups and stuff like that, it'll just be pretty well constantly trying to pop balls down the rail until I find that spot on the white ball that you've got to hit, or that spot on the rail where you've got to hit the object ball.
Yeah. That's exactly spot on. I've thought about when I'm going to get my table. Most of the drills I do, the object ball will be on the rail or within a handprint from the rail. Most of the balls I'll be playing will be from there. Yeah.
Can you ask him to pay his internet bill, mate? You're making enough money. You're getting sorted.
Whilst he's left the room, let me just say, for the record, because we like to call this out, Gareth Potts, congratulations on winning the World Championship, mate. Great effort. I know you've been trying a long time and you really wanted this one. So good on you for getting over the line. It was great to watch.
He's brilliant. He is so good, that guy. He's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Good. I wondered, I don't know if you've paid attention to this, Rusty, but there's a question for me about how good the world champs are in comparison to the Masters in China. And I get that they're trying to do, the world champs is the format that they want to take to the Olympics. They're short races to 7. And you need to be in the Olympics. You need to be able to sit down on your couch and say, I'm going to watch the gold medal match. And in an hour or two, it's going to be over. So you need to see a winner. But these are short races and the winner got 30K. To win the Masters in China, it's a field of hundreds. Yeah. And the winner of the Masters, the winner of the world champs, Gareth, got 30,000 US. The winner of the Masters got 700,000 US.
Yeah. Well, he won a tournament last year, Gareth. He was telling me 240,000 US, I think he picked up for one of the tournaments he won. Mate, that's the prize money. Look, don't get me wrong.
In practice for that.
Up there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I actually can't believe that Neil. Obviously, you would have asked him the question. Like, he made a world final or a world semi-final by borrowing someone's cue. The prize money's probably getting to the stage now where it's well overpassing the World Snooker Tour.
Mm-hmm.
How long before these guys, these top-line snooker players go, you know what, we're going over? I think, and Gareth said to me, it's guys like Tom Ford, and he named a few other snooker players, and I actually mentioned Neil, and I said, because obviously he can play pool and that as well. He said, sooner or later, he said, they're going to go there. And it's just inevitable. And this is going to get in before snooker for the Olympics. So don't be surprised if you have a lot of these top liners that jump ship trying to actually get an opportunity to play for their country at the Olympics. That would not surprise me at all.
Selby here seems such an obvious choice. Like, Gareth's one of his best mates. He's already a world 8-ball champion. He obviously knows how to play the game of 8-ball. His mapping skills will be excellent. His cueing skills will be excellent. Surely he would just slot right in.
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you? But don't sleep on guys like Jack Whelan, though. Like, even in pool, he was one of my favourite players to watch, that Jack Whelan. Like, I used to watch a lot of the ultimate pool. I used to love laying in bed and just watching the ultimate pool, the over days. Now it's a little bit loaded up a bit too much in relation. There's a bit of an overdose on it, so you don't watch it as much because there's so much of it.
You
but
click
when
on
it
a
first
highlight.
came in, I used to watch a lot.
You click on a highlight reel now, and it's someone screwing back a foot and then stunning in a black. Like, I remember the highlight reels from a few years ago, and you'd be there trying to, you'd pause it and you try and guess what's going to happen, and you'd have to be very creative. Now it's like, look at this amazing shot, and he's maybe played a planter ball over a hole or something. I stopped tapping on them because it's nothing, And those pockets too, they're just getting bigger and bigger. I just can't do it.
Yeah, they are getting bigger.
Can I give you a bit of Ultimate Pool news, though? Interested to get your response on this. So during the week, I caught up with Mark Quirk. And Mark's the chairman of Ultimate Pool in the UK. He's the man behind the creation of Ultimate Pool. He's a wealthy businessman, put millions of his own money into getting that off the ground. He tells me that Ultimate Pool is getting to the point now where it's making its own money, it's profitable, and he's turning into this commercially successful business. And you might have seen some ads from Ultimate Pool and from the AABF about trying to find someone to run Ultimate Pool in Australia. They want to bring that concept to Australia to run it in here. So I was trying to understand from him what that looks like. They're essentially handicap leagues. They do something similar in the US already. They have a handicap technique called Fargo rate. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. It's a bit like chess rating. If you've ever played chess, you have a chess rating. So it depends on who you play. You can go up and down. It takes a couple of hundred frames to get to the point where you're rated correctly. But essentially that means you can have a team of any 6 players, play a team of any other 6 players, and they might be, Australian level players playing Division 1 level players, but their handicap means that they'll get a certain number of, the lower team will get a certain number of frames head start, and you got to kind of chase them down. So it means that you have any team play against any other team, and he's trying to put a commercially sound business model behind it so that you can create state leagues that have big prize money in it. Essentially, you play for it, tens of thousands of dollars in a pot, and maybe across Australia you go for an even bigger pot. And he's trying to get to the point where you play for six figures, like as an Australian champion team in this league, and then you can play internationally. And his goal is to get to the point where you have $1 million plus pot to win this kind of world title.
It's already happened.
Yeah.
That concept that you're saying has been happening in Australia since I first started. So that's your Vegas leagues. So
That's your Vegas leagues,
previously, 100%. So it's been happening in Sydney and been happening in South Australia since day dot. So the concept that he's saying is it's, I wouldn't say it's a new concept, but it's probably the only relative concept that he can use for the game to move forward in relation to our rule set. I just think he's got, I hate to say it, but I think he is fighting a losing battle. I think with this Chinese 8 ball, I just think now it's where previously when Ultimate Pool come on board and a few other things come on board, everyone was a bit skeptical. But this, we're seeing it with our own eyes. We're seeing the prize money. We're seeing the arenas. We're seeing the professionalism. We're seeing it's different. And at the end of the rainbow, there's a pot of gold called the Olympic Games, which is insane. So it's, that's...
Is that the only difference though? Ultimate Pool's been around for a while now, and
the professionalism. Don't get me wrong, like Lee and them have done a tremendous job and their arenas look fantastic. But there's a difference between an arena at a club than being an arena that's at a venue where they have rock and roll concerts. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the difference. But I know you can't do that on a weekly basis, but they do. You know what I mean? Like these events are all the time, and they're always at the best venues. They're always at this and that. And I'm going away to the Australian titles next week, and I know I'm going to get nothing what I just seen then. And that's nothing against the Australian 8-Baller Federation. That's just they've been fortunate enough to have somebody that's a billionaire that's throwing his weight behind it and has given everybody something we've always dreamed of. You know what I mean? So I wish when I got into this game 2 or 3 years ago when Jake and Justin and them first started, it was just like when the opportunity's there for free flights and accommodation, must be brain dead that I didn't take it. It was just crazy. Even that first event here in Brisbane, I got an invite to it and I didn't take it. I just didn't want to embarrass myself.
Yeah.
You don't want to go there and absolute more.
Well, you don't know much about it. And now that it's around, you do,
Yeah. Look, I would say for like, I applaud anyone who is putting some effort into Q Sports to increase the professionalism and the prize money across the board.
He's done a great job. He's done a great job. He has.
Yeah. So I'm thrilled that Mark Work is bringing what he's done in the UK to try. He's already gone to the US and some of the other places around it. So I'm thrilled that he's coming to Australia to kind of try and bring that model here.
Yeah.
And I'm thrilled that Mr. Chow is bringing Hayball to the world. Like, that's been around for, I think Gareth says he's been playing for 13, 15 years, right? So in China, it's been big for a long time. Yeah.
Okay.
So now he's just trying to bring it globally. It's just delighted that he's having a crack at get to the Olympics. And for it to happen on our turf in our backyard the year that it lands in the Olympics, that's just incredible, right? So
it's amazing.
Hence the big push in Australia. So I think they're both coming. I think the jury's out as to whether one will win or and the other will lose, or whether they'll both sustain. But I'm just so happy that it's happening in our backyard.
The other thing I seen with that Ultimate Pool the other day, which I thought was pretty impressive, it's the first time in the history of the sport where majority of the top players that play the game are making more than 50,000 quid a year. Okay, so that's equivalent to say 85, 90,000 Australian. All right, now all of you guys have pretty well got good jobs. It doesn't seem like it's a hell of a lot of money, but they're playing and they're doing stuff that they love. You know what I mean? As a job, which you couldn't ask for. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things. It's the same as anything in life. Like Mark, if you realistically wanted to be an Ultimate Pool pro, I've got no doubt you would have went over there and you would have been successful. You would have won multiple events. I think Mick, if he went over there and played, he would have won events. I think there's players that have proved that have gone over from Australia I'm not saying everyone's as good as Jake, but there's definitely been players that have had results over there. It's just life gets in the way of certain things, and you choose to have your family and choose to have your house and your boats and all the rest of the crap, which makes us keep on working and doing what we're doing. You know what I mean? So, and that's why. But there's nothing better than free money. I don't care what anyone says. Like I remember in the early days, I used to go away and play in a tournament, and it'd probably cost me
Moving day.
cost me like winning the tournament 5 times for the work that I'd missed out on. But
Yeah.
if I won that 2 or 3 grand, it was just like, you pisser.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my money. And I didn't have to sweat for that.
You never get sick
All
of
I
it
did
either.
was play a bit of pool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it's
you
great.
never
Nothing
you
better
never get
than that
sick of
free
it.
money.
I think it's great to have it in your backyard though as well. Like, Jake, for example, who's gone to the, to the UK, Neil in the early days, it's bloody hard to travel overseas and sleep on someone's couch and scrimp and save while you're trying to get a result. So to have the opportunity to do it, I'm going to say at a lower risk, like you don't you have to take a week, a couple of days off work rather than a couple of weeks off work, and to try and dip your toe in and see if you've got what it takes to kind of build up to that level. And then once you get a bit better, then you can kind of dive in. So if that's happening in Australia, if we get to the point where it's a viable career to be an ultimate pool pro or a hayball pro or whatever it is in Australia, that just speaks volumes for the possibilities of the next generation of Q Sports player in Australia.
Yeah, well, that's my biggest thing too.
Yeah. No, you go, Mick.
That's my biggest thing too, taking the time off work as well, losing a lot of money every week that goes by. So going away is actually hard. Having family, wife, stuff like that is actually, it does take its toll. So you do have to pick and choose. And I've done that over the years with 8-ball and our nationals. And now that Hayball has come along, it's, I'm grateful that Mark's going to get a table. Marty's got a table, Jake's got a table. So there's going to be places I can actually go to actually have a hit, practice on it, and we will get good quickly, I think, so, and then eventually,
100%.
Rusty, you come down here or we'll fly up there. We'll spend a couple of days together. We'll put our knowledge together and we'll get better over those 2 or 3 days, and then combine what we've learned together and then use that to, progress ourselves, later on down the track.
You know what I find with it, Mick, is it's probably the one Q sport where all the disciplines that play, like snooker, your 9-ball players, your 8-ball players, they're all going to think they're actually going to be better than the other at. Okay, so
100%.
previously you've got something that's over there where the 3 of them are there, and you got your top line snooker players. You think their Q action's going to be, well, that's what's going to separate me with these, and then you've got the pool players who think, well, we're a bit smarter than these guys. All they can do is pot. We'll just wait, slow and steady catches the monkey. And then you've got the 9-ball players who think they've been playing with those size balls since they dot. They've got the advantage as well.
I think they're the worst.
100% they are. You just got to have a look at Shane Van Boning
This
and
is
all
where
those guys.
Robbo. This is where Robbo actually has the perfect advantage over everybody. I think if Mark actually decides to take the game up, at a decent level, I think he can do better than anyone in Australia. I think he can be world class very, very quickly. He's got the Q action. He's got the Q action of a snooker player. He's got the knowledge of an 8-ball player. He can play 9-ball very, very well and has proven that. So he's actually, unfortunately, like out of everybody, Robbo has actually got the best chance to do well at this game at Hayball than anyone, I think, in Australia, like by a mile. So
I think with all Q sports, he's probably got better chance than anybody in Australia.
well, I think the Hayball side
if he
of
wanted
it,
to be
the
a
Chinese,
snooker pro, it would have been the same.
well,
I
that's exactly
disconnected. It
right.
looked
But
like
the
I've come
Chinese
back at the
8-ball
right
has actually
time.
come down now. Actually, probably the perfect sort of timing for him as well. Now, he was a bit stale with the other game, 8-ball and all that, and now he can actually. There's a new thing that's here, and he might enjoy it. Who knows? But he's going to put his time and effort into this, and I'm going to be there practicing with him and taking on board. Like the knowledge that he's going to get, and who knows? Who knows where
There's
this?
no expectations.
That's right. Yeah.
There's no expectation. So he's gone from, as I said previously, he's gone from, from the hunted to the hunter again. So the amount of pressure that takes off you is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You've got no expectations on yourself, and you can just play the game how you want to play the game.
That's right. Well, if you take a couple of weeks off or a month or two off, you need to go and practice against your cueing and just everything, like I'm the same as well. Like I need to actually put in some time and effort. Like with Mark, he's done his time and effort into the snooker side of it. And his cueing is actually never really let him down. And he used to say, we had this conversation a while back, that Mark actually said that I don't know, when people talk about how they're cueing badly, I don't understand that, because I'm always actually cueing in a way perfectly. So when I say to him, I need to practice my
Makes me want to
cueing.
vomit.
Yeah, well, every time he strikes a ball, it's exactly the same. Whether he takes a week off or a month off or 3 months off. I know he's not here to defend himself now, but I can promise you now that he's never thought about once his cue action, because it's just that good, And
Do you reckon that was from these old men holding that big stick over his bare ass as a kid?
Probably, yeah. And if that's what it takes, please give me a crack. But like, good on him. And I think, look, Jake and Justin are a year ahead of us. Hopefully, at the end of the day, soon we can all catch up and, have a chat about things. Hopefully, Australian pool players can become very, very good Australian Chinese or Hayball players in the future.
I mean, you even get to leverage that, right? Like Jake and Justin, they're a year ahead, but you can spend some time with them, and they can bring some of the lessons that they've learnt to allow you to accelerate quicker than they did, right?
Yeah,
steel sharpens steel.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's always been the same case. You're only going to reach a level, and no matter who you play, that's why, as growing up and you're getting better in the games, you're always going to play the better players to get to that. It's the same as, believe it or not, I think it's the same for Jake and Justin. It's hard for them guys to actually go to the next level now, because there's no one really in Australia for them to practice constantly.
To start playing. I think they need us to start playing, to start pushing them. And I think they'll be able to reach new levels. So in 6 months from now, when Mark gets his table, you've got your table, Marty's got his table, we'll all know and play like the game much better than what we are playing now. And then we can push Jake and Justin, and then we can combine all our powers like Captain Planet, and then, go from there.
I wonder, Scerri, if... Do you reckon that they'll start up a Hayball league in Victoria? Like, is there enough venues that you can... I wonder if we could do... I wonder if we know enough people. Like, there's at least 2 tables on the screen here, right?
Marty, Rusty, Robbo, me.
I wonder if we could do like a little singles league where we just went to each other's houses.
We'll get it sorted, Marty. Like a
16 player,
because we live in very different parts of Melbourne. Closer ones to you, your house. Closer one to me is my house. Yeah.
Back to the ultimate pool again, just quickly. Mate, obviously, everybody. I suppose we wanted it to be here 2 years ago because we thought ultimate pool would be here, and it's just been a slow burn before it's actually hit here. So whoever takes that on, obviously there's enough players around Australia, and there always has been, for it to be successful. But I just don't know. The difference is in Australia than it is in the UK. They can go to 1,000 events and they're a train right away. Australia's just, when it comes to the logistics of it and the demographic of our country, it's so much harder to run these tours because we live so far apart. You know what I mean? And the elite players, they come from all areas.
Might be hard as well. I mean, we kind of got burnt a bit, really. We all converted our tables from 7-footers to the Supremes and did all that and had faith, and unfortunately it didn't go the way we wanted it to. So then we're converting our tables back from Supremes back to 7-footers, and it's now like with Ultimate Pool coming, like I don't know, like I'm not excited about it. If it all works, great, I might have a go. but whatever here or there. But
No, no,
I'm not buzzing about it.
I've lost it. No, I've lost that. I've lost that eagerness for it as well. And I'll tell you one thing, and I'll be straight up. I'll probably get burned for this. I'll tell you one thing I didn't like. Exactly what you said, Mark, where everyone was pushed to buy these Supreme tables, and we all went out there. We bought these Supreme tables. We wanted to play on these tables, and the people over there that were selling us these tables made a crap load of money because they sold hundreds and hundreds of the buggers around Australia. All right. It was going to be the universal table that we all used. And then all of a sudden we had these tables, and by the time we're ready for a second recloth, there's a new table that's come out, and that's the table. It's like, hang on, you're going for another money grab. Is this COVID all over again, or what? What's going on? Is this the third jab?
Now, I did call this question out when I spoke to Mark Wood. I actually put this to him. I said, there's some complaints here locally because people shift from 7-footers to Supremes, and now there's the Rassons. Now, his business mind says we are trying to do long-term contracts with our partners, so there's at least a 5-year contract in place with Rassons, and he wants, he's trying to do good business with them and extend that, so he gets like a long life out of those things. So he acknowledges that that's an issue and he's trying to do something about it. So, I appreciate the business attitude toward that, but that doesn't stop. Like people like you, like I love the honesty. It feels shit to have to swap your table over to do that, to those things, right? So you don't have to do that all the time.
I mean, I like the ultimate, like those Rassons, they're obviously the pockets are very big, the tables are very small, but you look at it and it's such short format. They're playing race to threes, very short time limit matches and everything. It just feels like a lottery. And that's actually what's been driving me nuts about the game. Like I played in Tassie and I'm watching Rusty play and he's kind of struggling early in the tournaments, which actually he often does. He kind of works his way into the tournament. And I come into the tournament absolutely guns blazing. The poor bastard, I played first, race to 8. I think he got one shot, and by the time I play Rusty, Rusty's struggling. You played that chick early. She's actually a really good player. That could have gone like 5-all or something. And I'm watching you struggle. And then by the time I play you a couple of days later in the quarters, you open up the match by running the first 3 racks on me. And I'm just like I can't go back to it. I can't go back to it. I can't go back to the small tables, big pockets, shorter races, guys like I run racks on people too, like I said about the guy I played in the first round, but you don't really seem to
So you're
mind
saying
when you're the one doing
there's
it.
no excuses now when it comes to the.
Yes.
You're saying now.
I lost. Oh. I lost to Kurt and I almost thanked him because I lost to him in the last 16. I had the run of the balls. I reckon I was first in almost every frame. I had opportunities. I was just not good enough. He was playing shots that I thought I would struggle with, and he was executing them very well. And he flat out just beat me. Not run of the balls, no bullshit, nothing like that. It felt like the first time I had just legitimately lost in a match where the opponent was just better at the game than me, and I lost. And it was almost like a relief. Finally, I found a game where if I lose, most of the time it's on me. I've played Rusty so many times over the last 5 years or so where it'd be raced to 9 or 11 and I miss 2 balls for the match and lose. It can just be pretty harsh sometimes. Sometimes you get away with it. Sometimes you play a shit match.
Kurt's probably the other guy that you'd actually have play for your life because he's out there to win. He's got all the shots that you'd ever want, and all the dodgy shots too. He's got them too, so he's got everything covered.
Kurt was very good. I was very impressed. Like when we played, when we were finished, he mentioned a couple of shots I played, and he said, "Watching you play reminds me of how I was playing a couple of tournaments ago." Because I'd only played the game for a few hours, and it was obvious. And he's played the game for maybe 100. And the way he played compared to the way I played, you could definitely tell I was newer to the game than him. But he was great. Yeah, he was very good.
You know who Kurt reminds me of? And when you play him, and tell me if you think the same, Mick and Mark. Kurt and Woodsy are so very similar as players. It's mind-boggling. And I'll tell you why I say this, because they only know one speed, them boys. Now, I know both guys are tremendous 8-ball players, and they've always have been, but they can either wipe you off the map or they'll shoot themselves in the foot. Now, when Stevie's at his best, he's near unbeatable because he'll just cue his ass off. And a lot of people think I'm the same. They think that I've got a little bit of method to me madness, a little bit more, I think a bit more than those boys. But I know that when Kurt's the same, when Kurt goes for it, he goes full throttle. And Kurt is leaving himself that triple and backing himself to get the triple into the corner. Do you know what I mean? So I actually love playing Stevie and Kurt. My record's probably 50-50. I don't know if it's better or worse. I couldn't tell you. But I actually like it because I know that I'm going to get that opportunity if they miss. And when there was a period in the ultimate pool where you won majority of them tournaments that year where, mate, I was looking at that draw and I was gutted if I drew you. I was like, you're kidding me. I've got that again. I'm sick.
That was the only time I could beat you. I've not been able to
same,
beat you in anything else.
I didn't even want to be on the same side of the draw as you. Don't worry about drawing you. I didn't want to. I'd be like, I'm looking at 3 games ahead. I'll get for him. Look at him.
You had a winning record against everyone in that except Mick. Mick and I played 3 times. I won 1, he won 2. Other than that, I actually had a winning record against everyone else. I remember I had to play Della and Sage 7 times on the spin, and I got them all 7. That's actually one of my proudest accomplishments.
I knew you kept on drawing them.
Yeah,
because I'd hear Gustin ringing up, going,
it was like the 3 tournaments in a row. I'd play one of them in the semis, one of them in the final, and then I'd draw one of them in the first round and then the second round again. Like, it was just, there was a period of like 3 events. I just felt like I was just playing them.
Well, it's only
and in those tournaments, like,
how good was it to draw a Kiwi? You'd be like, yes, I got him. Just get me through to that cash. It's got to win 1. All right? Yes, I got a good draw.
Got to win that first match, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, over you were staying for a while. We had to get our flights and everything.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, it was a hard drive, an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I started staying at a hotel up there. I felt for you guys having to travel so much for that. I don't know if I would have done it, but Jesus, it would have been shit.
Yeah, I'm sure you did, mate. I didn't see you play too many games for it.
Had to win them while they're there.
Listen, I'm falling asleep. Can you give me 7 questions so I can go to sleep?
All right. So it's you got to sort of like answer it or name someone as if like your life's, like your life's depending on it, sort of thing. And you got to be quick. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Name one person for your life to run a rack.
Say.
One person to make a long double.
Stevie Woods.
And you can't name yourself in any of these. Win a very big tournament.
Probably yourself. You're talking Australian players, yeah?
Yeah, all Australian players.
Yeah.
We're the only ones that matter. Land a white on the 5-cent piece.
Well, it's supposed to be rapid. I'd probably go yourself again.
Can't win anything, though. Pot a long, tricky ball under pressure.
I'll go Mick.
Mick?
Make him feel better at himself.
That's it. He was feeling lonely over there. Play Scotch doubles with.
Probably Jake.
Yeah. Win a match, race to 11 from 0-10 down. Who would you pick?
Travis Crawley.
That's a good one.
Yes.
That's a good one. I like that.
That'd be there the next day.
He's got enough prick in him. He'd love to do that too. Make you squirm. Your biggest nemesis?
I've had a couple in my life, but I'd say Benny Noonan early days.
I thought you were going to say Benny. All right. Would you rather spend the rest of your life playing with the rest every shot or off one leg?
One leg.
One leg.
I'd play with one leg anyway.
Yeah. Last one. What's your favourite tournament? All-time favourite tournament?
Has to be the big guns.
Big guns, yeah. Big guns. In when it was at Bahrain?
Oh, just all of them. I just think they're all good tournaments. I miss them. They're actually very good.
All right, Mick. You got to pick one player for your life to run a rack.
I'll go yourself.
You guys are being generous. Make a long double. It's got to make this long double to save your life.
Kurt.
Win a very big tournament.
McCartney. People just die against him.
McCartney. Play a positional shot. Land the white on a 5-cent piece.
Well, it's not Rusty. It's got to be Sage.
Pot a long, tricky ball under pressure.
Rusty.
He's good at them.
Yeah.
Play Scotch doubles with. There's one correct answer here, Mick.
Rusty. I reckon you and I, man.
We'd go good, mate. We'd go
I reckon
good.
we'd go all right.
We'd probably be the best of all time, Mick, just
My
quietly.
God.
All time.
You want to see
Your
a funny
mouth and
matchup?
my ability.
You should have seen when me and Sage played Alec and Mick in a Scotch doubles match.
Oh,
Mate, that was funny. Alec telling Mick how to play every shot and where to land.
Yes.
I said to
That
Ace.
would have been, that would have, that's
Ace.
where you lost your hair.
I said to Ace, I know how to play this shot. Just tell me where you want the white ball.
And it was funny. It was an absolute picket.
He was the most
All right, Mick,
stressful. I love
big-
you, Ace. He is the most stressful person in their history to play. Other than Brenton. Brenton would tell you, hey, Mick, you have to pot this ball, but if you don't, we'll lose. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I'll just miss it.
I literally had
I
that
choked.
with Brenton.
Yeah. I remember that.
I've had that with Brenton. It's brutal.
It's brutal.
Who's your biggest nemesis, Mick?
Rusty's probably got me more times.
Forever?
Rusty's gotten me more times than I've gotten him, and I'm going to get that back with Hayball, with Chinese 8-ball. You're in trouble.
Me too. That's why I've quit 8-ball, and I hope he plays the Chinese 8-ball. Actually, no, don't, because you've single-handedly retired me from 8-ball. Let me play this new game. Let me play this new game.
Well, I'm counting on it.
So you got to play the rest of your life. You got to play the rest of your life with the rest every shot, or off one leg.
One leg, because I had 3 anyway.
That's the best.
You'll just extend your back up. Eh?
That's right. I still got balance.
What's your favourite tournament?
It has to be something in Albury because I've done all right in Albury. The Albury tournament up there, I've done well in Albury. At the end of the day, anything in Albury, I've done.
One.
I'm all good.
All right, Marty, you understand the rules. I don't need to explain them all to you.
I think so. No, just
All right, Marty, run a player to save your life. They got to run a rack.
Sage,
Make a long double.
Butters,
Win a very big tournament.
Jake. It's got to be Jake.
Land the white on a 5-cent piece.
I've seen this on a reel on Facebook. It's got to be Scotty Matthews.
Yep, Scotty Matthews. Yep. Yeah, it's a good one. Pot a long, tricky ball under pressure.
You,
Play Scotch doubles with.
Noonan. I'd love to play with Noon Dog.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Win a match. Oh, I didn't ask you this one too, Mick. I've got to come back to you. Win a match from 0-10 down, race to 11.
Are you asking me now or Mick?
Cut out there, was that?
I'll ask both of you because I missed you for that one, Mick.
Well, I'm going to say, who's the guy that you're 0-10 down? You need to pick someone to win a match, race to 11 from 0-10 down. And I'm going to say, who's the guy that Gus played that came back from a massive
Rocky
margin?
Hammond.
Rocky Hammond. I'm going with Rocky Hammond.
Rocky.
I put Rocky on the map, and then Gus took him off it.
How about you, Mick? 0-10 down. Who's your player to come back?
Man, you know what? I got to say, I've only ever played many of my doubles matches with Robbo, so I think it'd have to be him. I just can't see us losing from 2-0 down to 10 or 20-0 down. So yourself.
Who's your biggest nemesis, Marty?
It's probably Jamie Stevens for me.
Jamie. Yep. Jamie Stevens. I can imagine that.
Yeah, a guy that I should have won a lot of. I should have won a lot of frames off him in to make state teams, and he'd always get me. So what was the last one?
Second last one. Would you use a rest every shot, the rest of your life, or play off one leg?
Definitely not a rest. I've got to play on one leg.
Yeah. And what's your favourite tournament?
No, I got 2. I probably should say the Miss Hughes Classic in 05 at the Nationals because that's the one that was my best big event result. But I really liked the Nationals in '99. I don't know if you were around there, Rusty, but it was the old Crown Casino in Melbourne before they moved to the new one, and the finals were on the stage of the Palladium Ballroom, which was
They
just
said it was awesome.
tiered seating, looking down on
I've
the
heard about that
stage.
Nationals, yeah.
Incredible. My legs went to
That would've
jelly
been
just
sick.
walking out there. It was unreal.
That would have been good.
I'll run through the questions for myself, just for the record. So run a rack. I actually haven't thought about any of these. I'd say Jimmy Della. Make a long double. I'll say Ben Noonan. Win a very big tournament. I'll go with you, Rusty. Land the wide on a 5-cent piece. Ooh, probably Sage. Pot a long tricky ball under pressure. Woodsy and Kurt both come to mind. I'm probably going to say Kurt. Play Scotch doubles with. Well, Mick, you're my man. You know that.
You're my
I'd
man,
like-
you're my man.
Yeah. I reckon me and Sage would go pretty good Scotch doubles. I think we got a pretty similar
You'd bore each other.
boring
You'd fall
way
asleep.
about it.
I
Yeah.
actually want to stab myself thinking of it.
I think we'd bore everyone to death. Can you imagine me and Justin in a Scotch doubles tournament? Everyone would want to avoid us, not because we're going to be hard to beat, but just because of the battle that would be for you.
Every ref would want to avoid just that's about it. Years would be terribly hard to beat.
Oh my goodness. Win a match from 0-10 down, race to 11. Mick, he actually doesn't give up. It's very annoying. I'd imagine him being 0-10 down, race to 11, and him thinking, if I win this will be the legendary comeback of all time. And I wouldn't
Well,
be
you've
able
had
to
a
deal with
couple
it.
wins like that, Mick, so that makes sense.
I'd rather be 10-1 up on Mick than 10-0. So, yeah. My biggest nemesis, that's easily you, Rusty. I think in big tournaments, yeah, I don't have a good record against you at all. I reckon I'm probably 50-50 thereabouts against everyone else except you. Yeah, I'd play off one leg instead of a rest for the rest of my life. And favourite tournament, I'm going to go to big guns as well when it was at Bar 8. I think that was when it was at its peak. So, yeah.
Thanks for the quiz, Robbo. Great way to finish us off.
Just a bit of fun.
Thanks for having me on tonight, guys. I've really enjoyed it. It's been awesome.
Thanks for joining us for the
You're
chat,
welcome.
Rusty. Be great to
Have a good
see.
one.
Good luck at the Nationals next week, and be good to see you out there on a Chinese 8-ball table in a tournament sometime soon in the near future.
Yeah,
Good
hopefully
luck.
I'll see all the boys then. See you later, eh?